Every day you get up, you work hard. It's what Americans do. So when you need a new vehicle, come to the dealerships that work as hard as you do. They'll get you the deal you deserve. The Larry H. Miller Provo Auto Mall, where you can shop over 1,000 quality new and used vehicles in one convenient location. 3 dealerships, 1 place, and 1 promise. We'll earn your business. 2 blocks west of Lavelle Edwards Stadium, online at provoautomall.com, driven by you.
However you want to twist it, the evaluation is sound. Okay, just because, some guys don't end up becoming NFL quarterbacks and starting quarterbacks in the NFL doesn't mean that Elite 11 isn't doing the job. I want to bring in an expert. I want to bring in a guy that has experienced this. I want to bring in a guy that has had his ups and downs at the collegiate level, but also has had tremendous success as a professional quarterback. And whenever you get to the professional level as a quarterback, guys, we're talking about the 0.001% of the rest of the country. So, yes, when I say elite, this guy was elite. Let's welcome him in, former BYU Cougar, Elite 11, assistant coach, Jake Heaps. What's up, Jake? How you living?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
We're fantastic, man. Can't wait for the Russell Wilson Quarterback Academy to come to Utah. But before we get to kind of the news and notes of the Russell Wilson Academy, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Number one, is it a blessing or a curse to be invited to the Elite 11 in your mind?
It's I think it's a funny debate, honestly, because it absolutely.
I think we have a glitch in the matrix.
Jake, we just lost you. We just got a glitch in the matrix. Let's see if we can reconnect. Jake, you there? We're going to try to reconnect with Jake. Mitch, let's see if we can reconnect with Jake. I'm going to continue to delve into some of this data, okay? So 1999 was the first year of the Elite 11, okay? 5 NFL QBs came from it, 5 busts, people would say, 1 solid performer, Chris Ricks from Florida State.
That's a pretty solid performer, Chris Ricks, too.
Yeah. We're getting some feedback, Mitch. We can't. We're hearing a birthday party sound in the background for – are you hearing this?
I'm hearing some kids, a birthday party. What's Heaps up to now? What's going on?
No, we'll get to it here in a moment. We'll get back connected with Jake Heaps, assistant coach for the Elite 11. But, for me, this is an opportunity for the hard work of these young men at the high school level to be showcased. There's only times in a young man's life that he gets wine and dine, that he gets the opportunity to compete at camps like this and to experience something different. These are opportunities for them to get recruited. These are opportunities for them to be showcased. And I think any opportunity for a young man to compete is a good thing. We want to be competitive in all things. And so in the offseason, we always want to be engaged in a good cause. We talk about it all the time. Why not focus your efforts on developing your skill set, and why not become specialized in something?
And just to look at the numbers here when you do it, I mean, on average, it looks like 3 or 4 out of the 11. It looks like sometimes there's 12 are making it to the NFL draft.
Yeah,
that's pretty good odds, right? 3 or 4 out of this group is going to make it to the NFL draft.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, the odds are forever in your favor if you are evaluated and deemed as an NFL talent or an Elite 11 talent. Let's get back out to the Forte Helmets phone line. Welcome back in Jake Heaps, former BYU Cougar and Seattle Seahawk. Jake, you there?
Yes, I am here. Sorry.
Hey, you're okay, brother.
Didn't know my connection was lost. So where did I leave you guys at?
Right when you started. I mean, so we asked the question, and you're like,
okay.
I think it's
an interesting debate.
Yeah,
is what we heard.
Yeah, interesting debate. Blessing or a curse in your mind to be an Elite 11 invite?
I think it's a blessing. Look, this is like the American Idol of college high school quarterbacks. Everybody dreams to go be a part of this thing, and everybody works really hard to one day, be a part of the Elite 11. And I think the process of when I was coming through was still a great process, and it was a fun event. But ever since Trent Dilfer took this thing over, and in student sports and Trent Dilfer and Nike, kind of worked together on this thing, the evaluation, the process, and the journey that these guys go on in this camp is incredible. It's second to none. And so you get these guys that are...
I think we lost them again.
I don't know if that's on our end or what, but we need to figure that out because this is. Yeah, we got to get this thing figured out, gall darn it. Jake Heaps has given us fiery takes, fantastic takes.
I was excited. I was enthralled.
I was enthralled. I was at the edge of my seat. I was leaning over.
What I was saying before, Ben, it looks like about out of these 11 to 12, it's 3 or 4 a year are getting drafted. And when you look at 16 out of 32, I mean, there's something to it, right? It's working. But I grew up with the expectation that 11, like 10 of these would make it to the NFL, right? And I think that's what a lot of fans have the expectation of. Here's the best bet. They've been refined. They've done this.
Yeah.
And didn't think there was this many busts out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're talking 3 or 4 make it to the NFL draft.
What's a bust? I mean, is it NFL or is it being a collegiate quarterback, right? Getting a starting position as a collegiate quarterback, right? What is it? What do you gauge as a successful Elite 11 quarterback post Elite 11? For me, it's if you got a starting position at the collegiate level. If you became a starter at the collegiate level, then look, hey, you're pretty good. And then on top of that, okay, if half of the Elite 11 guys in the NFL, the starting quarterbacks, are Elite 11 quarterbacks. I think these busts
are referring that they're not even in college. So I'm with you. My criteria of success is they started college. And, Mitch, you're saying these busts on the sheet, they didn't even start college, did they?
Well, he's connecting with Jake, okay. So we don't want to throw to him just right now. Some of these guys haven't. So if you look at it, like let's take the Jake Heaps class, for instance, in 2009. Blake Bell, Joe Boyster, Rob Bolden. Tell me if you remember any of these names. Tyler Bray, Barry Brunetti, Devin Gardner, remember to Michigan, Jake Heaps, Austin Hinder, to Cal, Nick Montana, Washington, Mount San Antonio College, Tulane, Jesse Scroggins, USC, El Camino College, Arizona, Lindenwood University, Philip Sims. Over half of these guys, we're talking 70% of these quarterbacks transferred from one school to another, right? So they didn't get the starting position in that class, and so they transferred, right? So you can look at that and think, okay, well, if they didn't become a starter at the collegiate level, then that to me would be, okay, they didn't live up to their initial evaluation, right? But that being said, we're talking, also, the blessing and curses of being evaluated at a young age and then, performing to that level. Let's welcome back Jake Heaps, assistant coach for the Elite 11, also a quarterbacks coach for the Russell Wilson Quarterback Factory. Jake, you there with us? Sorry, we have a connection issue, I believe.
That's all right. Third time's a charm.
All right, we got this. Okay, so you were saying it's a blessing, okay, and the evaluation of these quarterbacks has significantly improved under Trent Dilfer, and since Nike has been involved, continue with that same theme.
Yeah, I think Student Sports is the group that actually runs Elite 11, and I think between the three groups, I think they've done a fantastic job of changing this process, and really what it's become is yes, we push these guys on the field, and we, try and help them be better quarterbacks on the field. But it's about also teaching these guys what it's like to handle everything off the field. From anything from sexual assault to being leaders in that aspect, to handling things in the weight room with your teammates, with your coaches. And I think the other part of it too is, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, especially at the quarterback position, is everybody's been touting you as the greatest thing that's ever happened. And the media, the fan base, everything. And what ends up happening is a lot of these guys put all their self-worth is involved in what other people say about them. And so when things go bad or when things get tough, it shakes them, because for the first time now they have people saying things that aren't nice, right? and it rattles them. And so what we try to teach these guys is, life is bigger than football. And if you can understand that your self-worth is not in football, but it's who you are as an individual and trying to develop who you are as a person, then you can go and be extremely successful in football. Because as a person, your priorities are in place, and when things go wrong, you have that self-confidence in who you are and what you're about. And when you look at the NFL and the elite quarterbacks, no matter what their career has been the year before, or a bad game stretch, or in a current game, they always want the ball back in their hands. They always feel that they have the ability to change the course of a game. That self-belief never changes. And I think that's what we're really trying to instill in these young men as they are sent off to college, and now expectations shift. And you know, I mean, Cameron, you've seen this yourself. I mean, you've seen a lot of guys come in who have been successful, who've been able to go into a program and you know, fit right in, and guys that struggle. And it's not the same for everybody. And so what we try to do is we try to limit the amount of guys that don't become successful in college. We want them to be successful, and we want them to go pursue their dreams in the National Football League. But it starts with that, in my opinion.
So let's talk about this. You know, early we had Coach Rich Bartell on. He's a quarterbacks coach as well. He was talking about the early evaluation of quarterbacks, and when we deem these young men talents at, you know, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, sometimes, you know, we may, you know, it's kind of like this outliers theory where you deem a young man a talented individual, and then more resources are allocated to that individual, and then obviously they're going to flourish under those resource allocated, you know, efforts that are made for those young men. In your opinion, if we're looking at kind of like a bar here, and the peak of a quarterback's ability as an athlete and as a quarterback is like Tom Brady, right, where he's reached his peak. What percentage of that bar is filled by the time they're an Elite 11 quarterback, you know, junior, senior in high school, and how much can they fill from that point to the end of maybe college or even into the NFL?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question there. I think this is a loaded question, because when you're talking about physicality, some guys are almost maxed out by the time they get into this position. You know, there's some guys that are heading into the Elite 11 that are probably not going to get any taller. They're going to get a little bigger and a little faster, but you know, they've reached their physical peak, and that's okay, because they still have a tremendous skill set, right? And there's some guys in this that are going to continue to grow, and they'll be freakish athletes. And so that always is evolving. But I think the biggest thing is that the game is ever evolving. And that's the part where, you know, from the mental side of it, that's where every quarterback at this age can grow. And so, you know, I understand, you know, the point that Rich has made on that side of it, but I don't think it's necessarily the fairest assessment, because although some guys might be late bloomers and can grow into great players, every quarterback at this age isn't necessarily ready to. They haven't reached their peak in college. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Every level, the game becomes harder and harder. There's more of a demand on the quarterback. There's more responsibilities, and so you learn at every single level, from, you know, youth to high school to college to the NFL. You learn these steps, and, you know, the best ones, the most elite ones, are the ones that flourish under these new set of standards that is the responsibilities that are set on the quarterback. And that's where you see the separation.
Jake Heaps, former BYU quarterback, here on ESPN 960.
Jake, great takes. You know, you mentioned earlier that under Trent Dilfer, the evaluation process has really changed. I'm interested in that. Can you talk about that? Take Jacob Conover, for example, the BYU recruit. How is he evaluated? How is he chosen? What's been his path to become an Elite 11 quarterback?
Yeah, you know, I'll answer that in two parts. You know, I think first, the way that they've gone about it is, I think what you guys have described, pointing out, is that there has been a lot of misses. You know, but, you know, like Ben also said, there's a very finite amount of people that get to play in the National Football League. So it's not
only that, starting positions at the collegiate level. You only got 130 per year, and, I mean, there's not very many spots open.
Right. There's 32 NFL starting quarterbacks in the entire world, 64 backups. You know, I mean, it's a very elite group. But I think what they've done is, I think, yes, they've looked at, you know, hey, here are the guys that writers are, you know, and talent evaluators are saying as the top guys, but they go deeper than that. They watch the tape themselves. You know, we really, you know, kind of get an evaluation of these guys, who they are as individuals, who they are as players. You know, what do we think that they can, you know, potentially reach with their, you know, physical traits, their mental traits. You know, we try to look at all of it. We try to peel back all the layers. Whereas before, Karen, to answer your question, it was really kind of just, you know, hey, the recruiting writers of, the world, the Rivals.com, the Scout.coms, the 24/7 Sports, those types of entities. It was really just, okay, who you have as your top guys, boom, that's kind of who we'll put as our top guys and who make the Elite 11. You know what I'm saying? It was really kind of more like that, whereas now it's very much in a evaluation. So when these guys come to our regionals, every year you look at it, there are going to be guys that people will question, well, I don't know if that guy should belong in this group, and we deem that he does belong because we see the upside and potential that this individual has. So, with Jacob Conover, I think the biggest thing that stands out is, I think he's a guy that is confident and comfortable with who he is. I think he has, great mechanics and footwork. He has a really good understanding of that. But I think the side that you love about him is kind of the intangibles. He's going to go out there and do everything right for you, and you love that. But I think he's got great intangibles. I think he's a young man that, guys will rally around and guys enjoy to be around. And so from that standpoint, when you look at Baker Mayfield and they asked why did he get drafted first round, they simply said because he could go into a locker room and affect change, and that was their evaluation of him. And I think Jacob has some similar traits to that. So I think that's a part that's exciting. Yes, he's got great mechanics and can make the throws, but I think that part of it really helped get him in.
Jake Heaps of the Russell Wilson Quarterback Academy. It's coming to Taylorsville High School June 7th and 8th. Quarterbacks, wide receivers come out, learn from the best, and Coach Jake Heaps is going to be there. Ross Apple will be there as well. Jake, a couple other questions I have for you. As you look at, how long have you been a part of the Elite 11 coaching staff now?
Yeah, so this would be year 3 for me. It's year 3 and love it.
So, you've evaluated Tanner McKee, who was also a BYU quarterback recruit, Cameron Cooper out of the state of Utah. You've also looked at Jack Tuttle, who's going to be at the University of Utah. Let's start with Tanner McKee. He's going to be serving a mission. He's a Stanford commit, but this is a guy that BYU fans just wish that had not gotten away. How good is Tanner McKee, and does Jacob Conover rival him in talent and ability?
Well, I think Tanner McKee was a guy that, all these colleges, secretly really, really wanted him. Yes, he was highly touted. He had the offers, but, Stanford was thrilled to get this kid. And I know, a lot of these, a lot of the West Coast schools were really recruiting him hard. And he's a guy that, just from the talent standpoint, has all the tools, and again, another guy that just was comfortable with who he is. A great story is at the Nike opening, the 7-on-7 portion of it, he did not participate on Sunday for religious reasons, and so instead of worrying about hey, am I going to be the MVP and this and that, he sat out. And watched and observed, and the next day he came in and he just shredded the whole day. It was very impressive to watch. And so it's just something that you walk away impressed with. Not a lot of kids could sit out for a day and step in the next day and perform the way he did. Jacob Conover, I think they're a little different. I think Tanner had the prototypical size that you would look for. Connor's a little bit on the undersized side of it. But I think, one thing that stood out to me when I watch his tape is, when I watch Conover is, his receivers aren't having to make spectacular catches for him. He's got incredible receivers to throw to. He's got a great high school program that he's in. But they're not out there making ridiculous catches and making him look good. He's putting it right on the money, right in stride for them to go score. And I think his accuracy is very high.
I think that's a great point. Jake, when I was evaluating your film, this is a long time ago when you were coming out, Elite 11, obviously I was stoked to have a 5-star quarterback. I remember commentating, post game. I was like, hey, we need to just revert everything over to the Jake Heaps era, right? Because we need to plan on the future. I remember like it was yesterday. I do remember looking back at your film, and you were surrounded by a lot of talented individuals. When I was watching Jacob Conover's film, just like you mentioned, surrounded by a lot of talented individuals. Does it help or hurt when you're a quarterback like that and you're surrounded by, Division I athletes everywhere, and then you kind of transfer into a new program that maybe doesn't transfer, that talent doesn't transfer versus your competition like it did before? Help or hurt you, and what are the struggles with that?
Well, I think it's a good point. I think that at the end of the day, we would all love to have the best horses on the field to throw to, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think it hurts you. I'll give you a prime example. When my freshman year, when we played Florida State at Florida State, we were simply just out athletes. Like we didn't compare to them. We weren't ready to step up to the challenge that game, and that was tough as a quarterback, knowing that windows are going to be a lot tighter, and it was going to be tough. That makes it hard on you. But I think from an overall standpoint, you don't really think of it that way as a quarterback. You work with the guys that you have, and you try and get the best out of them, and you work together on the timing and the rhythm. And I think that's what Conover brings to the table is he's going to be a guy that can throw on time and in rhythm. And, although he's not the guy that has the biggest arm in the world, he has great anticipation, and I think that'll make up for it.
Jake, we're always so grateful for you joining us. Can't wait to see you here in Utah. We invite all Cougar fans in Cougar Country, if you got quarterbacks in the family, if they need to be developed, if they want to compete with the best, rwqbacademy.com. Jake Heaps, Ross Oppo are going to be there coaching up your kids. Sign up at that website. And, Jake, as soon as you get into town, man, we want to get you in studio. Great insight, as always. Love your takes on the Elite 11. And we appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. I love hopping on with you guys, and it's my pleasure. So look forward to getting on with you guys again soon.
Every day you get up, you work hard. It's what Americans do. So when you need a new vehicle, come to the dealerships that work as hard as you do. They'll get you the deal you deserve. The Larry H. Miller Provo Auto Mall, where you can shop over 1,000 quality new and used vehicles in one convenient location. 3 dealerships, one place, and one promise. We'll earn your business. 2 blocks west of Lavelle Edwards Stadium, online at provoautomall.com, driven by you.